Sony has doubled down when it comes to the camera tech on the Sony Xperia XZ2 Premium. This bad boy sports a dual lens rear camera which you can't find on any other Xperia handset, not even the flagships. And this right here really is one of the best smartphone snappers of 2018. Go check out my full in-depth Xperia XZ2 Premium camera review over in Recombu for all you need to know. But right here and right now we're going to compare the XZ2 Premium's camera tech to two of its biggest rivals, the Google Pixel 2 XL and the triple lens deluxe Huawei P20 Pro. Which one's best for you? Well, let's compare it for photo and video quality. And don't forget to hit subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, including in-depth comparisons. Cheers. So first, let's take a quick look at that hardware. The Google Pixel 2 XL sports the same single lens shooter as the standard Pixel 2, a 12.2 megapixel f1.8 effort with optical image stabilization built in to counter any handshakes. The XZ2 Premium bumps up the camera count to 2, a primary 90 megapixel snapper with an f1.8 aperture backed by a 12 megapixel f1.6 monochrome lens. They can capture and combine two shots using the Orb engine in order to make some really nice crisp results. But when it comes to proper dick swinging, the P20 Pro is by far the winner here with its funky tri-lens setup. The 40 megapixel f1.8 primary shooter isn't just supported by a 20 megapixel f1.6 monochrome lens just like the XZ2 Premium. You also get an 8 megapixel zoom lens with OIS to get a crisp detailed shot of your subject even if they're bloody miles away. All three of these phones of course offer some kind of smart manual mode with full support for RAW imaging, but for the purposes of this comparison I decided to keep them all in auto and just use them like most people would. And I also occasionally flick to some of the special bonus modes such as the portrait mode to test those out too. And then basically I just pounced about London taking lots of photos and videos with all three of these smartphones, which didn't all make me look like a dickhead tourist and almost get me mugged. So how did they all perform? Well, first up, photo results. Now it's no surprise that all three of these phones capture really nice detailed results. You get perfectly crisp images even when you throw them up onto the big screen, which definitely makes them an ideal way to capture your everyday existence. Even in certain tricky lighting conditions, the HDR capabilities definitely shine through. In all of the photos I took, it was generally a tied result. Although the XZ2 Premium often captures a little bit more detail in those darker areas overall, with some really bright, attractive results. The flip side to that is that it did overexpose one of our photos, but touch wood that seemed to be a one-off. Both the P20 Pro and the Pixel generally produce some nice natural looking images as well, again with plenty of detail in those darker areas. And thankfully we didn't see any overexposed results with either of these handsets. When it comes to the colours, the Pixel again sticks with a very natural reproduction. Basically whatever you shoot, the results will be what you see with your natural eyes. The XZ2 Premium in comparison gives them a slight boost when it detects greenery and other strong colours. Thankfully the results don't look unnatural or artificial and it still produces some very attractive shots. Which one is best? Well, that kind of depends on your personal preference, if you want something more natural looking or something a bit brighter and poppier. In the case of the Huawei P20 Pro, you get a serious boost to those colours with the AI mode activated. Some of the scenes we shot actually looked quite cartoony, especially when you're shooting a naturally vivid scene. Thankfully you can knock that AI mode off and then that gives you total control over the colour reproduction. So you can either have more natural images like the Pixel, or you can choose to really highlight those colours if you want. And in the case of the Sony and the Huawei, you've got some dedicated monochrome shooting as well. That's thanks to the secondary monochrome lenses. In both cases you get near identical results. You can get some really moody shots, especially when you're shooting some crumbly old architecture or a funky night scene. The monochrome mode is definitely good at bringing out textures, hence it's really good at shooting organic subjects. When conditions get a little bit darker, the Pixel 2 unfortunately does still struggle a bit compared with its rivals. There's sadly a lack of detail, especially come night time, and you often get quite soft grainy results. The XZ2 Premium is definitely a step up here. You get stronger contrast and a lot less grain. However, that said, the P20 Pro is definitely still our favourite, capturing immensely bright photos which are absolutely packed with detail and still nice and crisp as well. Some of our photo results were actually brighter than what we could see with our natural vision, and thankfully nothing gets blown out either, so you don't get any overexposure or anything like that. That said, the P20 Pro does often struggle to capture any fast moving subjects in low light because the shutter action is a wee bit slower. Now of course all three of these phones offer their own bonus modes. In the case of the P20 Pro you get absolutely stacks, but the majority of them can just be ignored because they're mostly pointless. One thing we did concentrate on was the bokeh or portrait mode, which all three offered. In the case of the XZ2 Premium, this can basically shoot anything with a nice blurred background bokeh effect, not just people, whereas the other two here definitely faltered. When it comes to shooting people, however, all three of them perform really well. The Pixel 2 XL actually held its own despite only having that one lens, mostly thanks to Google's software smarts. There was the occasional fluff up, but on the whole it definitely did itself proud. But of course the P20 Pro and the XZ2 Premium with their dual lens setup have the advantage. In both of these cases we often got very stunning results. When it comes to zooming in on a subject, of course the P20 Pro is still the granddaddy. Although let's face it, this fight is about as fair as a scrap between a blind one-legged tramp and Jason Statham. The P20 Pro boasts that telephoto lens, and its 5x hybrid zoom means you can get up nice and close to your subject with nice crisp results. You can see quite a lot of detail here on good old Nelson, whereas on the XZ2 Premium and the Pixel 2 XL he looks like he's kind of melted a bit. Frankly, that could just be a shiny turd on top of the column and we wouldn't know any different. So what about the video side of things? Well, all three of these phones can shoot up to 4K resolution video, so it's pretty damn good for your home movies. Of course, only the XZ2 Premium also offers HDR shooting as well. This tends to brighten the whole scene, thankfully without overexposing in most cases. When it comes to focus, there's no worries on any of these phones. The transition between near and far subjects is almost instant, and while we saw the Pixel struggle a couple of times when trying to pick up exactly what we were aiming at, we generally didn't have a problem. The end result in all three cases looked fantastic when viewed back on an Ultra HD TV. However, when it comes to the image stabilization, the Pixel 2 XL is still the king. All three phones performed well at Full HD level, but the Pixel was impressively smooth when you bumped up to 4K. There is very little judder or anything like that to make you feel a bit nauseous. The XZ2 Premium was definitely a close second, and the P20 Pro results were the most jerky here, although it thankfully seems to have improved since launch with various updates over time. When it comes to shooting videos at night, the XZ2 Premium offers the most balance here. The P20 Pro results are noticeably sharper, but the phone also tends to overexpose a little bit in those lighter areas, for instance any brightly lit signs. And when it comes to slow motion video, the XZ2 Premium is definitely the granddaddy. You can shoot 960 frames per second footage at full HD level, whereas the P20 Pro, which also offers 960 frames per second, tops out at 720p. So when you check it out on a laptop or something, it does look a bit grainy and crap.
So that right there is what I thought of these three smartphone snappers. Which one do you reckon is best and why? Definitely let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech. Cheers, love you!